Welcome to a special testimonial edition of the Aud Pod, an exclusive podcast from the Office of the Washington State Auditor. In this episode, SAO Cybersecurity Specialist Daniel Mann checks in with David Olsen, IT Network Administrator for the City of Port Townsend in Washington State. David and his team at the city took advantage of SAO's free cyber checkup service, and we wanted to find out what he thought of the process, the results he's seen, and if he'd recommend it to other local governments. Let's listen in and find out.
What made you decide to request a cyber checkup from the Washington State Auditor's Office?
It seemed like a real good opportunity to get kind of a third-party review of our networks for low-hanging risks and or low-hanging fruit risks. What I wanted out of this was kind of a sanity check on what I thought we were doing right, and then get kind of a third-party opinion on what the most impactful changes we could make to our security posture. We had never been audited before. We'd never had a pen test, anything like that. So this just seemed like kind of a good way to have somebody come in and say, you're doing okay, or you could be doing better here. And it worked out really well.
Can you walk us through what the cybersecurity checkup process was like from your perspective?
We did some kind of very, lightweight but useful testing on our firewall to make sure that, again, the low-hanging fruit wasn't really obvious. And then Dan reviewed the information we provided him, and he got back to us with recommendations for our policies. And in the end, we got the cyber checkup results packet that was useful. We had a lot of good general information in it, but it was specific enough that I could go to my management and say these are things that we could do to make our posture better. It took place over a couple of weeks, if I remember, but I don't think any interaction was much more than 30 or 40 minutes top. So it was not a huge impact on our staff time.
What were some of the most valuable insights or recommendations you received?
What I liked is it gave me some very clear steps to enhance our security. You get a checklist of what you're strong in, what needs improvement, what we hadn't implemented. The package that we get back from the SAO is something that is definitely ready to go to, leadership, council, whatever, to argue for, either taking steps or allocating budget or doing whatever needs to happen to implement the suggestions. It's got good information in non-technical language, so you can provide the information to just about anybody. And so having gone through the checkup with the SAO, we kind of have a nice baseline to say, with some degree of confidence, this is where we were, this is where we want to go, this is what we're going to have to do, this is what it's going to cost, those sorts of things. But it gives us a pretty clear piece of ground to stand on to grow from.
If another government asked you whether the cyber checkup is worth it, what would you say?
Definitely worth it. The price is right, so no complaint there. A pen test or something is great, but having to kind of discuss and explain your logic, what you're doing and why to a knowledgeable third party, I think is an excellent exercise and provides great benefit. So I would always recommend this to anybody who can do it, because you're only going to get good out of it.
For more information about SAO's Cyber Checkup program, you can go online to sao.wa.gov/bcybersmart. As always, if you have a question, topic suggestion, or other feedback, send us an email at webmaster@sao.wa.gov. Thanks for listening.